Still says off. There we go. Hello, Team Legacy. How are you tonight? Hope everybody's doing well. We have got Curtis Broome all the way from Hong Kong tonight. Hey, Curtis, what's going on?
You know, it's a great day here in Hong Kong. Hope it's a great evening there, Jay. Good to be with you guys, as always.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thanks so much for getting up this morning and getting on this hangout with us. I think today what we're going to do is we're going to go over a few things. I'd love to go over for a lot of our new members. We've had a ton of new members sign up and a lot of new, fresh people get started. And I really want to go over and try to give everybody a real sense of how to get started properly and how to get started in a way that is not only easy for the new member, but easy to duplicate to an additional member and to help enroll people properly, but also how to really duplicate that process and really become a leader. So Curtis, if we can just go over a few things I think would be awesome for that new person. Hold on, I'm just pulling up my notes here that I'd like to get to. But I want to make sure that we just teach everybody how to keep it simple. We just keep everything really simple. Use the tools that we're given. The different websites, three-way calls, how to edify your expert once we get on those three-way calls, and then how to teach duplication. So if you can just sort of start us off here, I'd appreciate it, and then I'll take some questions and answers from everybody on Facebook.
Sure, and in fact, we've got a, you'd also mentioned and asked, people understanding what are the stages of development of someone truly becoming a part of a team, and those 4 steps, and I've actually got a visual that will, if we have a couple of technical challenges, we'll figure it out. You and I were practicing before we got started, so we'll see if we can pull this off. They're going to get to see, at least in my case, the non-techno wizard try and be techie, so that's going to be a thrilling adventure. Here's what it is. It was kind of funny when you and I first connected before we started the Hangout. You said, listen, I really want to focus for new people, and the reality is everything we do in network marketing is about the new person. If you think about it, my mentor years ago said network marketing done properly is like a family. And it's not to sound, warm and fuzzy or hokey, but he said, just think about the dynamics of families. He said, who is the single most important member of the family? And it's the newborn baby. And the reason is simple. They represent the future of the family. Without newborn children and families come to an end. And so the newborn children, they represent the future of the family, and yet when they're born, they're incapable of surviving. They're not able to sustain life on their own. They have to be nurtured by the family, surrounded by the village. There is a process of growth they have to go through to where they can become, to some degree, self-sustaining, at least clothe themselves and get a bowl of cereal in the morning, that kind of thing. Then they go on and they grow and they learn more. They've learned how to walk. They've learned how to walk. They've learned how to run. They've learned how to just, by 5 or 6, they say you've gained 85% of the knowledge you're going to have your entire life. The rest of it is like educational knowledge, but just fundamental knowledge, opening doorknobs and walking down the street, and just knowledge of how to live as a human being. And so, but they do that through experiential knowledge. It's not a matter of learning first, doing second. They learn as we all learn as we go. It's a part of the process. They don't study language without ever uttering a sound, and when they feel they've got it fully down, they start speaking fluently. It's not how it happens. You don't watch people walk and study it and decide I completely understand it. Now I'll take my first step as a proficient walker or an Olympic runner. They just engage, and so and then as they get older and they get educated, they move out of the house, they're on their own, and then all of a sudden they find that spousal relationship, they have children, they're now the parents, and they move on to grandparents. Well, that's what network marketing is. You start brand new. I don't care your age or your previous background or expertise. You're a newborn. You don't know anything about the profession. You're just getting started. The difference is this is a teamwork world, and it really is. The challenge for many, we're used to, by the time we become adults, we've got these societal things. It's about human behavior. It's about the human condition. And that's what my mentor said. He said, if you'll understand that, and if you build an environment that is based on natural laws of human behavior and the human condition and the human process, then you'll be okay. And if you try to violate those, that's why when brand new people say, well, I need to learn everything before I do anything, okay, you're going to fail. Guaranteed. That's not how human beings live. That's how we artificially do things. That's how we do things in the other parts of the world in our life, if you will. I need to learn my job, then I'll go do my job. That's not what this is. This is a functional human experience environment. If you don't accept that, then you're going to fail. In that case, you may as well leave now, because why would you want to put yourself through that misery? So you are an expert. The minute you joined Team Legacy and Mint, you're an expert. You are a 20-plus year professional expert. And why? Simple, because you got access to the expertise. My mentor once said, Curtis, being an expert is not having the knowledge, it's having the phone number of the person who does. You're instantly an expert. You know, Jay, you and I are, we're brothers, and you are a nuclear physicist. Anybody can ask me any question about nuclear physics, and I am the expert. Say, because no matter what they ask, say, hang on just a second. There you go. There's your answer, because I have access to Jay. If people will accept that and know that, but I don't want to impose. Network marketing is about being imposed upon. Leaders are here to be imposed upon. That's how we got there, because we imposed upon others. In other words, it is about shared expertise until you have acquired expertise. That's what being a child is. You share the expertise of the parents in the village who will protect you and feed you and clothe you, until one day, through natural exposure to it, you are able to feed and clothe yourself. Now you're the leader. Now you will feed and clothe others. So it's all about the new person. Everything we do in our profession is designed to create an environment for the newborn to survive. Everybody else can take care of themselves. If the environment protects safely and guides safely the newborn, everybody else is good to go. So I love that you said, let's talk about new people, because that's the only thing we need to talk about. It's always the only thing we need to talk about. If we have an environment where new people can take the right first steps and do so immediately and instantly, and if they then choose to do that, that's the second part. Okay. Network marketing is a cooperative relationship. It is not an I do it for you, and it is not a you do it by yourself. Either one of those is failure. Abject failure, just complete, total, undeniable, there's no way around failure. So if you want me to do it for you, it's not going to work. And if you think you're supposed to do it on your own and not impose upon me, it's not going to work. Because it is about engagement as a team and shared expertise until you have acquired expertise. And then you share that with others till they acquire it, and then it duplicates. So here's what I want to do. There are so many things this touches on, and some of them we can fill out more, but there's a training I've often done that's called the 5 Reasons People Fail in Network Marketing. And then, you know, why would you want to talk about failure when we're all talking about success? Simple. Sometimes it's good to be aware of some failure signals, so if you start to see things creeping into your own action steps and the action of others, you can identify and go, whoops, that's a failure path, I need to stop that. But one of the items, and I won't go through all of them here, we'll do that later, but one of the items on that list is the reason that people fail is they never fully plug in. Again, my mentor said our relationship is simple. It's 7 words. I will help you build your business. The most important of those 7 is the word in the middle. It's the 4th word from either end, you. I will help you build your business. Your job is the second half. You build your business. I can't build it for you. I can't, because I'm helping so many build theirs. I do the helping, you do the building. And the building doesn't mean that you have to have this overwhelming task in front of you. You don't. You simply need to engage in simple activities, but you've got to commit to them. And one of them is you have to fully engage. Read your website. It drives me nuts when somebody asks me a question that's on the second page of the website, when I said, well, you know, we gave you the tool for a reason, so that there are some things you could step up as an adult and do on your own, and I wouldn't have to I wouldn't have to put a bib on you and feed you Gerber's baby food. So that's one of the things. New people need to say, there's nothing you need to know. There's no expertise or experience you have to bring. But you do have to have a willingness to say, I'll do my part. And part of that is you need to plug in. You need to be on every single team conference call. You know, where those conference calls where they just, you know, if there is such a thing, where the conference call where just people are dialing in, hey, you know, just shout out who you are, where you're calling in from. You need to be on every single one. But Curtis, I've been on 312. My gosh, it's the same overview presentation. Yeah, that's not your role. You're supposed to, my first question is, can you give it, the presentation? Could you lead the call? No, you haven't heard enough. So 312 wasn't enough. Keep showing up. Again, babies continue to try to walk until they do because they see everybody around them walking. It instinctively, as a human being, it never even occurs to them that they wouldn't keep getting up. They bump their head on the table and split it open, got to go get a stitch because they were trying to walk and slammed right into the corner of the table when they fell, and they scraped their knee. They don't just try 3 times and go, man, I'm not going to do that again. You know, I tried 312 times to walk. I'm just not going to do that anymore. I'll sit around for the rest of my life. They just don't. It's the human condition. They don't just stop talking because they babbled a few indeterminate sounds and say, well, I just can't talk. They just go at it. So engage and do that. Why should you be on every single one of those? The most important part of those calls is the last 4 or 5 minutes before the call starts, when everybody's beeping in. And if you have a prospective team member coming to the call, you don't want to be one of those dead air spaces where nobody's showing up. You want it to be one of those calls where it's like beep, 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 beep. And if it was, hey, just call out where you're calling from, and there's like an explosion of 412 people shouting out their name in some city, somewhere all at the same time. Because you know that when you were on a call, when you were first on a call, and that's what it was, your first thought was, wow, there's a lot of people here. Wow, this seems to be impressive. So why at 7 p.m. or at 8 p.m. on Thursdays when we have the opportunity presentation call or whatever it is, why do you show up every single time? Out of support to the others, because as a team, you want to be a good team member, because you like the fact that whenever you have people show up, your team shows up for you. Now, what if you're at a wedding? Great. Step out, unless you're actually the bride or the groom, and at that very moment you're asked to be, you're reciting your vows, or you're the best man and have to be there at that instant. What do? You're at the reception, you step out at 5 minutes till 7 or 5 minutes till 8, you dial in, you shout out your name and where you're from a couple of times, and as the call kicks off, you hang up and go back into the reception. Why? You're a good teammate, and you showed up to do your part. Well, I don't do the call. Yeah, you do. You're there as part of the team that shows up because it's the entire experience. Did you fully plug in? Second thing is, so one, you got to fully plug in. So let's keep, and Jay, you said let's keep it simple. Let's talk about some stuff. So that's it. As a new team member, there's not a lot you have to do. You're an expert on day one because you have access to them. But be a good teammate and do your part. Plug in, start to learn, show up all the time, be there all the time. If you can't be there live, watch the recording, the Hangout recording after. Because don't make us talk for you forever. Learn how to talk. But you don't have to do that on day one, because we are able to do that. The second thing is, you do want to keep it simple, and we've talked about this. If people will go back through the stuff we've done, why do we talk about people the minute they place that start pack order, that success pack order? Why do they immediately go into the hot market system where they make the phone calls and do the short conversation, or they do the texting? Because it suddenly gets people into a habit of going into action. Kids just go into action from the moment they're born. It's an instinctive drive. They're, when they can barely lay on their back, they're constantly trying to figure out how to roll over. When they get on their knees and crawl, and they do that, they're constantly trying to figure out how to sit up. They're just constantly trying to figure out how to stand. It's just a never-ending process. It's an instinct that we were innately born in. It's the process of becoming an adult where we mentally overcome our instincts. If you go back to that childlike state, you'll just drive yourself. It'll happen. So we want to get you into action that we know has been proven that 100% of the people who do it exactly the way they're shown to do it, it works for them 100% of the time. Now, they may modify a little bit. Some people sell whole cases of Isserol. Some people just do 6-packs. That's okay. Anything that moves the product. Some people like to call on the phone. Some people text. That's okay. Anything that moves the product. So, we've given you this environment where you may have this, you may do something that works for you, but you do it. Why? Because 100% of the people who do it exactly the way that this process has been laid out, it works for them 100% of the time. Period. So why wouldn't you do it? I don't know. That's a question you'll have to answer. But if you're new, keep it simple, and here's why. It is hard work to get to the top, but it is not complicated work. It is very simple. And so to keep it simple, here's what I'm going to touch on, Jay. I'm going to touch on something, then I'm going to go into the training you wanted me to cover. There was a training that Lisa and I talked about, and we've actually talked about this before, but you specifically asked, so I'll go through it. I saw another version of it called PCA, and it's another individual who does a lot of training in the network marketing profession. He's an extremely successful, accomplished person in the profession, was a very top and still has a great income in New Skin. He just now teaches on a broader scale, even outside of his company and team, because he teaches, he actually does coach people. And Tim Edwards is a great guy, and he there was a training that Lisa actually saw, and she said, you need to check this out. And I went online, I found it, and I watched it, and she was right. It was 3 letters, PCA. And he said, that's how new people need to get started, PCA. We teach that the way you select a company, having had 26 years of experience in the profession, is you can look at a product. You want to make sure it's a really good product or service. Why? There are too many companies that have great products and services. So there is no one company to pick because of the product or the service, because there are just tons of outstanding products and services out there. Just make sure you pick one of those at least. But you got a great product, something that is good, check it off. Boom, got that. Next, you want to have a great company. And what I mean by that, you want a company led by passionate, experienced, talented people, because growths of companies are going to involve challenges and obstacles you run into. And when those happen, you want to make sure those people have expertise and they have pit bull on the bone type of commitment, so they'll overcome that. And then you want to make sure that you've selected the right team. Are you with a team of people that you can connect with? Because sometimes there are great leaders out there, but it's just a wavelength thing. It's just not a thing that's going to really work well for you. So if you find a team of, if you got a great company, if you got a product that you can be passionate about, great. You got a company that knows what they're doing, that's outstanding. If you got a team that you can be confident in, and that was his C, confidence, then you can go into action. So let's talk about that. He said, here's how new people need to go. 1, you have to be passionate about the product. Why? Because people seem to think they need to stop and learn everything. It's what Travis and I talked about last week. They need to learn everything before we move forward. That is a recipe for failure. Children don't learn how to talk and then utter their first sound. They don't learn how to walk and then take their first step. If you try to violate the fundamental laws of human behavior and natural human process in network marketing, you're going to fail, because it is designed to match that, not learning how to be a nuclear physicist. That's not how it works. You don't go to school for years and years and then get to be a nuclear physicist. Here, you have to engage and learn as you go. To learn first and think you're going to go second, you will fail, because it doesn't work. It's about duplication. And everybody needs to take that note. If you want to be successful, you and the team of people around you must achieve a state of duplication. And I'll show you that here in a second. And I'll show you what you're duplicating. Everybody is not designed to be a nuclear physicist. So to think that it all needs to be learned first and done second is wrong. Learn as you do. Why? Because you have Jay Lewandowski, you got Rob, you've got all these people. You can pick all the names in this leadership group. You've got Travis and Summer. You've got this whole powerhouse expertise that is right there with you, and they're a touch away. They are on tons of these recorded things. They're on these calls. You tap into them, and the way you do that is you are upfront about where you are. You have to be passionate about the product, because you don't have to know how the product works. You don't have to know the science. There's tons of information and literature available about the MYNT products. I had somebody the other day I was saying this to, and in a hangout, and they sent a question across. They said, but I've had people say, but listen, why do you keep pointing me at other information, or why do you keep trying to point me to other people? You're the one who's supposed to be trying to convince me. And I said, whoa, no, I said, let me share with you the response to that in the future. Absolutely not. I am not here to convince you. In fact, I have no interest in convincing you. I have no interest whatsoever in putting in an effort to convince you. I don't want to work with people I had to convince. I want to find people who are seeking true information to answer their questions so they can make a valid decision, because I'm not here to get you to do anything. I'm here to give you an opportunity to make a choice that is good for you, but the only way you can make a good choice is if you're informed. So I don't care if you say yes or no, so I'm not going to waste any time convincing you. So then be upfront. So Jay, my friend, I'm new at this, but I am passionate because I've experienced these products and I know what they do to me. How do they do it? I don't care. If you need the science, take a look at this, watch this, and read this. And if you need more information, I've got an expert I can put you on the phone with. I'm not here to convince you. I'm passionate about the product. Your passion will overcome 90% of the questions. Your unpassionate understanding of the results that others have had will overcome. But for those say, then be honest, that they're different than you. So Jay, I'm not the guy who needed the science. That wasn't me. I wanted to try the product, and when I did, I became so passionate about it, I didn't care. The good news is there's lots of that information. If you're the kind of person who needs that, great. I'll respect that in you. Let me get you to that information. Let me connect you to the person who's the expert as well, because I am learning by listening. I'm not. Well, why don't you just tell me? Because, Jay, I care about you. I'm not the expert. I heard it from experts. You deserve to hear it from experts. I'm not there yet. You see, Jay, I'm coming to you now while I'm new and fresh and raw, because as I go down this path with this team that I have extreme confidence in, rather than waiting until I've achieved great success and then coming back to get you, or to bring you along with me, I care about you so much. I want you to see it now, so that if you see what I see, we can walk the path together. In fact, let's not just walk it together. Let's bring hundreds. In fact, let's bring thousands of brand new newbies just like us along with us at the same time. But it's okay if you choose not to come with me. That's okay, but I'll leave that choice to you. That comes down to the second part, which is confidence. And it doesn't need to be confidence in your expertise. You have none. Be confident in the expertise of the team. Be confident in the capability of the team. Be confident that you're with a team that you have seen be through their actions, not their words, that, man, this is a great team. If I commit, if I do my part, they're doing their part. This is awesome. Brand new, day one. I know nothing, and I'm an expert because I've got passion for this product, and I can point to all the expertise, so I don't have to understand it. And I've got passion for this team. I've got confidence in this team. I am confident that this is the team to be a part of. And all I need to do is expose that to others. Because let the team be the experts, which comes back to one of the parts of confidence in the team, is the edification. The most important thing that you need to learn is that don't be the expert even the day you are. In other words, you're an expert on day one because you have access to them. There's a difference to being an expert through access and an expert through acquired expertise. Acquired expertise, which happens naturally over time. Right now, we are all able to talk because we've acquired that expertise. Okay, you're an expert via access because you can have others talk the talk for you. You're listening or learning and listening. Then one day you will have heard it so many times you'll be able to do it. That's acquired expertise. What needs to happen though is that you need to understand that there's a method to connecting others to the expertise that will enhance your success, and it's called edification. And the reason is, even if you one day are the expert, the smartest technique you'll ever have is do not be the expert for the people you talk with. It will overwhelm them. If the people you know, if you overwhelm them with your expertise, or if you try to be the expert, you will overwhelm them, because they'll be like, man, I could never learn all that. That's the natural first thought process of anybody when they come to something new. Wow, there's so much to learn. No, there's not, because here's the expert who's already learned it all, and they're willing to help us every step of the way. In other words, that's what we used to talk about. That's where edification comes in. Even if one day you are the acquired expertise expert, don't be that directly for your prospects or your potential team members or even your new team members. Introduce them to others. Let others be their expert and you be the expert for their prospects. Because we are teaching the process, and the process is don't learn and do and learn. So I don't want you to think you have to be an expert, because I'm not going to try and be your expert. I'm going to introduce you to someone else. I'm going to let them be your expert. Why? Because then go into action, because all your people, they can be the expert for them as well. I'm the expert for their people, so that their people will go into action knowing that I'm there for them. In other words, it's the teamwork. And people will say, but I feel like I'm imposing. You're not imposing. Leadership is paid and rewarded to be imposed upon. That's our desire. Our desire is to be imposed upon. Because if you won't bring those folks to us so that you can watch and learn, you'll never be able to watch and learn. I want to be the expert for your people. I want you to not try to learn first and do second. I want you to bring people to me who have an open mind. And how do you do that? Edify me. Edification is the art of introduction. Take your people to those who know more and let them know that this is someone who is you're so confident in this team because there are so many members of this team who are willing to give of themselves. Success in network marketing, true success, now you can achieve success by walking over people and crushing them and standing on them and beating them down temporarily. It'll be a flash in the pan, high speed, high gone, minimal success, but it's possible to have some. Sustained success is about becoming a servant. It is serving others. It is being a committed servant and a servant leader. If you are on a team that you're confident in, it's because you can see by their actions that they are servant-minded. What they ask is, though, that you don't expect them to do it for you. So be as prepared as you can, but don't be in other words, become an expert as fast as you can, proactively, and by bringing people and watching the engagement. Don't learn first and then do, but aggressively learn as you go. And the reason for that is simply because we want to serve you. If you will bring more people to us and let us do our job, you will learn how to become more like us faster. And when I got that, because that's why I failed for 2 years. I was the guy who was, I studied engineering in college. I was an anal retentive guy. I said, I have to be the expert in everything because I won't rely on anybody for anything because I'm not going to impose. I'm going to be the master of my destiny. And instead, I was the master of my failure. And I began to realize that I should want to learn it as fast as possible, but not to overwhelm my people. In fact, I need to do it so I can serve them by letting them, while they are new and inexperienced, bring people to me. But the people that I go to, I need to bring them to someone else, and that's the edification. That's the three-way call. That's the introducing new people to the other experts on the team at a meeting, at a local meeting, at a Super Saturday training. In other words, the whole team's role is to introduce your newest people to someone else so they can introduce their newest people to you, and everybody swaps. Be the expert for someone else. Don't be the expert for yours, because you will intimidate them. And our job is to help new people be comfortable to go into action, because if they go into proper action, their successes will create more confidence and they'll go into more action, which then comes back to the action. What is the action? The action are all of those things that will, with passion for your product and confidence in your team, your action is the realization that my job is not to convince, my job is not to present, my job is not to sell, and my job is not to get people to do anything. My job is to connect with people and expose to them the opportunity to evaluate information the way I did so they can make the right informed decision for themselves the way I did, knowing their decision may not be the same as mine was. That's okay. That is what network marketing is. And so you don't need to know anything to go into high-speed action. You need to have passion for your product, you need to be confident in your team. And the action is, my role is to put people in front of people. That's it. My role is to put new prospective team members or customers in front of other team members and become and watch, listen, and learn so that as quickly as possible I can help by letting other team members put their potential team members and customers in front of me. That's it. Become the expert by doing so that you can be the expert for others who do. That's how the human condition exists. Parents are the example while children learn by doing. Talking and babbling until one day your whole sentence made sense and they gave you a diploma and you left university, along with all the successes along the way. Watch them walk until one day they walked, and now they one day are walking in the presence of their children who will learn to walk because they do. That's network marketing, which comes back to the one thing I wanted to cover real quick that Jay mentioned. So if you put that, and Tim I thought so brilliantly, it's PCA, passion for product, confidence in your team, go into action. And your action is figure out what's the least amount of conversation you need to have based on your personality, saying the fewest number of words in the shortest period of time to get the most number of people to be willing to be exposed to the people that you edify and put them in front of, so that you can sit there and learn and watch from the process. That's my job. If I could put a job description as a new team member, what is my job description? Figure out for myself. There's a lot of concepts we give you, but your personality is unique to you. Jay's is unique to him, mine is unique to me, Travis, Summer, Lisa, we're all unique. So I can't tell you exactly what to say. I can give you guidelines, but with practice and with effort, you'll get into that comfort that is best for you based on your personality. Some people are more serious, some people are more laid back, and and just lighthearted, and everybody's different. But for you, your job description is, as fast as you can, determine what is the right way to engage people based on who you are, so that with the fewest number of words in the shortest period of time, you're able to get the most number of people to be willing with an open mind to engage with the other folks or the environment that you're going to introduce them to, so that they can gather the information to make a decision that's right for them. That's it. Marry that process. Just like marrying a spouse and you are committed to that spouse forever, marry that process and commit to that, and forget the result. I don't care who says yes, I don't care who says no, I don't care who becomes a customer, who becomes a team member, who signs up and who doesn't. I don't care, because that's not my job. My job is to figure out for me the fewest number of words in the least amount of time to get the most number of people with an open mind to be willing to be introduced to the person or the process or whatever it is that provides them the information to make the best decision for them. And I don't care what decision they make, because if I marry that process with enough people and always commit to always marrying that process with as many people as possible, the results will take care of themselves. The people who should be customers will, and the people who should be team members will, and the people who at that moment should be neither, they will be that too. They will be neither a customer or a team member, because at that moment they shouldn't be either. They'll figure that out, and that's my job. Give them a chance to make that choice. With that, let me go move now to the training that Jade mentioned, and that is, when does, from a leadership perspective, we talk about leadership and you're new, and so you're not there yet, but you should aspire. In fact, by the way, if you do all those three things well, if you have passion for your product, confidence in your team, and you go into action in that way on day one, you're leadership. Instantly. The decision to commit to the right process in the right way and to commit fully, even if it's part-time hours. I can only do that 5 to 7 hours, and everybody will hear me say this. I say it all the time. The only way to be successful is to be full-time in terms of the quality of the hour. It needs to be a full-time hour, a full-time minded hour. But if you got 5 to 8 hours a week, great. Make sure they are full-time quality 5 to 8 hours. But if you do that, you are a leader. So you're part of the leadership instantly. And so maybe what we can help you do to compress the time is, let's give you the right perspective, a leadership perspective. And so from a leadership perspective, if you understood the perspective that many of the more accomplished leaders have, if you understood that's their perspective, and if I could somehow give you that perspective, load that into your head, I think it would help you get to more successful result faster. So I'm going to do a training thing real quick, and it was something I had talked through with the team. And so Jay said, could you draw something out? And I said, well, actually, I had done a PowerPoint a while back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip over and I'm going to share with you a foundation of leadership, and it's really a perspective of understanding that leaders have. And the question is, when does someone truly become a part of my team? When do they truly become a part of the team? So let me do this. I'm going to flip over to a screen share real quick. Now, Jay and I tried this before, so we're going to see if this works. So let me ask a question. Jay, can you see that?
Yes, Curtis Broome, Chief Vision Officer.
Awesome! Well, congratulations to me. So far, ladies and gentlemen, I have not screwed this up, so that's a good thing. Okay, so let's do this. Jay, let me ask you this. Can you see that just disappeared?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Okay, gang, we're going to talk about the foundation of leadership. Yes, and by the way, that's me. That's not important. Foundation of leadership is. Okay. Here's the perspective that we want all of you to have, particularly as newer members of the team as you're getting started. The goal or the objective one day is you would love to have a team of people, even if they're small. It's just a few, just a handful. It grows into maybe a dozen or something at some point. But what you'd like to do long term, you want to, as rapidly as possible within your team, achieve a state of what's called duplication. Because, and this is what leaders understand, duplication is something which means that when someone, maybe one day eventually, even in a country you've not ever visited and might not visit or have not yet visited, in a language you don't speak and probably never will, when they wake up in the morning, they are thinking the exact same things with regard to their Mint business that you think about when you get up, and they go do the exact same things every single day, consistently committed to the process that you do every single day. How did that happen? Well, simple. You committed to the right process, you shared that with everybody, and that has now permeated your team. When a state of duplication is achieved within a team, that's when massive success really takes hold. So let's do this. Let's talk about you as the leader. I want to share with you a perspective that leaders have, and it's an understanding of the stages of process that members of our team go through. And I want to take a look at that with regard to a new member. Let's call them person number one, okay? And what I mean by that is you're a leader, or you've got this understanding, you have spoken to someone and have taken them through the process. You properly prospected them. They may have been a hot market individual. You contacted them immediately to move some product, and you followed up with conversation, not presentation. You connected with them. In that conversation, you covered 3 questions. All of this is stuff we have taught extensively. You can go back through the archives. If this is new sounding to you, you can go back through the recordings from before and find it. But I've exposed them to the information, connected them and edified the experts, plugged them into it, and they've seen what I've seen. They got as excited as I did. You know, I started with the Success Pack. They did too. So they started with the biggest possible pack. That they've enrolled in the system. Okay, and so they're right there. They filled out the online application. They whipped out their credit card. They got Success Pack. You know, I look in my back office, and right there in my back office genealogy, it shows me and it shows their name. So here's the question: is that person now? They've got a MYNT ID number. Are they truly a part of your team? Yes or no? And as we go through this, I want you to instantly give yourself an answer. Don't hesitate. You're there by yourself. It's all private. Nobody sees you. You don't have to be embarrassed. So are they a part of your team? They filled out the online form. They're in the computer system. It shows them right below you there. Well, you know, many people might say yes, or even now people realize, well, okay, I'm not sure. The real answer from a leadership standpoint is not really. Yes, they are in your team in the system. They are a MYNT member. They have an ID number. They do have a package or product. They are certainly enrolled in the business. But they're not truly a part of the team from a leadership perspective, because all leaders know there is actually a second step. And the second step is that I have to help them, not just enroll them. It's not like, oh, good, got your money, got your package, you're in the... Good luck, see you later, off I go. No, I need to stay with them. They're the newborn baby. They're just getting, and I have to now help them. Well, what is it that I need to help them do? Well, I need to help them duplicate. I need to help them go out and following the right steps, you know, hot market, move product first, but then engage in conversation in the right way, whether it's online, Facebook, whatever it may be. But I need to help them go through a process so that they are able to go out and find someone who might have an interest but would at least want to evaluate the information. They edify and introduce that second person to the coaches and the experts. They get that second person all of the information, and that second person, all of a sudden, they see what this person saw, what you had seen. They get all excited. And so, in fact, I need to help them be able to go out and prospect and enroll person number 2. So let's go back to number 1. They enrolled. And now I've helped them. I've helped them go through the process of understanding how you, with passion for the product and confidence in the team, without the expertise, that's okay. You go into action and you do the right things, and I've helped you now go find someone who, after the process, they've now enrolled. Now that number 1 has number 2, now is number 1 truly a part of the team? Yes or no? Well, here's the thing. Many people at that point would say, well, sure, of course. Now that I get it, now that you've helped them, now they're in that process, they can do some duplication. The answer is yes. And that the real answer for people in a position of leadership is the answer is no. Not yet. Not truly a part of the team the way I'm looking at it, because I'm looking for duplication. In other words, I'm in the leadership development business, not just the team member enrollment business or the team member count increasing business. I'm in the duplication business, and I want to be able to duplicate leadership, and all great leadership knows there's actually a third step, and that is I need to teach. And what is it that I need to teach? I need to teach them how to help. And I'm talking about number 1 right now. They enrolled. I've helped them so they could go out and find someone, and they've begun the creation of their team, if you will. At least a person is there, number 2. So I've enrolled them, and I've helped number 1. They've enrolled. I've helped them find number 2, and now I need to teach number 1 how to help number 2 go out and follow that same process so that number 2 finds number 3, someone who was prospected, maybe exposed through hot market, taken through a process of being able to gather information. They got just excited. They went to the computer system. They whipped out their credit card and enrolled that Success Pack, and they've got their you know, Ace Earl and Citrus ones, and they've got their core stuff, and off they go. Now let's go back. So now finally, after this third step, you leadership perspective and say, you know, number one's enrolled. I've helped them so that they now understand what it takes to be able to enroll someone, and I've taught them how to help number two enroll number three. So now that I've gone through all three steps, enroll, help, and teach, finally now is number one truly a part of the team because I've started to duplicate myself. Yes or no? You know, and most all people will say yes there and congratulations. I mean, that's a great answer, you know, because I've taken them through these three steps and I've gotten all the information. But true leadership would still say no, not quite, really close, because there's a fourth step. And the fourth and final step is also to teach. But what is it that I need to teach them? I need to teach them how to teach. In other words, I need to teach them how to be a true leader, mentor, coach, and servant leader others. And that is when you're a trainer of trainers, a coach of coaches, a mentor of mentors. I need to teach number one how to teach number two, how to help number three, go out and properly prospect and one day be able to enroll number four. You take a look at this group of four people, finally number one is truly a part of my team because as a leader, my perspective is I am looking to grow my leader team. In that process, I grow a large team, and that team, out of respect, is allowed to do whatever they choose to do. And out of the whole team, only a few will choose to want to do the kinds of things that will lead them to elite leadership. Another group will choose to do the things that will allow them to lead themselves to great leadership. Another group will choose to do the things that will help them grow to a level of really good leadership. Another group will choose to do the things that help them lead them to a role of leadership. And a lot of people will simply choose that they just like being a part of the team, and the reality is I'm just going to continue to consume the product and just be really a distributor labeled customer, but I love being a part of the team because, you know something, I just like the team. It makes me a better person, but I just haven't yet chosen to really go through that growth. And everyone will find their point. But true leadership has the perspective that this is the process that takes one person to truly being a part of. In other words, what's happened is, number one, in this regard, now I have duplicated myself. They no longer need me. There's nothing that they need me for. They want me, and I want to be a part of their continued success. But if I got hit by the bus, the group is now duplicated because number one could step in because number two is almost there. They're only one more step away. Number three is only a couple steps away. Number four has this group of people, 1, 2, and 3 above them, who are capable of guiding them through the process. It is this fourth step. That's when you realize, in other words, when you bring someone new to the business, that's when they finally became the adult. And as a parent, you can step back and watch them flourish in life. But if you let go of their hand before that point, you very possibly put them at risk in life. Just like a newborn baby. They can't survive without you. And there's more than just one step. Getting them to whip out a credit card, fill out an online form, and enroll with a success pack. There's a lot more than that to make them truly a part of the team. This is the foundation of leadership that true leaders understand. There is that depth of effort just for one to reach that level we want them to, and then that combined and that duplicated depth of building that then creates whole leadership teams and whole leadership groups, and then a truly growing dynamic team where a brand new person is properly served, which brings us full circle back to the beginning. What is it we want that new person to do? Simple. Have passion for the product, have confidence in the team, and be willing to go into action. And if they'll do that, then everything else will take care of itself. So let me come here and let me see if I do that. Am I back? I think we are.
You're back.
Awesome.
Back.
There you go, Jay. That was we actually got it to work too. Because in our test it didn't work there for a while, but as long as you could see that, then I guess we pulled that off. How about that? You and I, at least I became a tech wizard there. So there you go, Jay. Kind of perspective of new people and what you do.
That's awesome. Thank you very much, Curtis. Is there a way? Do you have, since you started this Hangout, can you turn on the Q&A right now at all, or do you have to
Yep.
start that from the beginning?
Nope. It's already on. Let me go. Bingo. Great. Now you should
So
be
I would.
able to see it.
I just don't know if everybody else can see it. I know John Taylor is on right now. John, if you can type in a question just to see if we can
Make sure the Q&A is working and it'll pop
make
up.
sure
It'll
it's
refresh.
working. Or if anyone can type in something. How about that? Not just John. So I'll start off a little bit. Curtis, I think the one thing that you said that was really key, and I think this is what some of the people getting started really need to hear, is you have to marry the process. You really have to marry the process and divorce the result. Because once you do, you don't worry about the yeses or the nos. Just go out to follow that process, and once you do that, the people that are going to be able to join your business are going to join your business. The right people are going to join your business, because you never want to pull anybody through the door. You never want to have to convince or manage them. What you want to do is you want to give them enough information to make the decision for themselves, and either join your team or politely say no thank you. And once they do that, it's a pure situation, and your relationship's not altered with that person. So I think that's one of the things that you went over that was really necessary for the new people.
There's another training called the power of no versus the fear of no. It's the power of no, and I've done this with a couple of groups. I'll just make note in my head, because next week might be Lisa with you guys, but the next time I join you guys, I'll do that. I'll do a quick power of no, which will then put in perspective exactly what you said. Done properly, the people who say no can one day be a huge part of your business. And that's an interesting thing to think about, and then we'll leave that till we go back. But I'll show you how the no's can be a huge part of the success of your business over time, and we'll talk about that. But you're right, that's exactly what it is. Respect them. No's and yeses are both equally great, because if it's the right answer for them, then it's the right answer for you.
And I think that's the other thing that you've hit on in a lot of other trainings, and go out to get and you'll that heck yes, because you're actually going out and being a part of the process, as opposed to just sitting at the home and hoping that somebody's going to call you, or sitting behind your computer on Facebook and just on a wing and a prayer. So
well,
the other thing that go ahead.
You've had great success here, and you're someone who's very well seen in the team. How many? You've had a lot of yeses. How many no's have you had?
A whole lot more.
Exactly.
A whole lot more.
If you measure if you want to measure success, measure it by the number of quality no's. You'll be a lot more successful. Because if I had someone tell me, well, you're not getting any no's, two things are happening. One, everybody's enrolling because you're lying, and you're so good at it that they all believed it, and so they all signed up. So if you're getting no no's, then you're lying. That's not
right.
Good. Or you're not talking to anybody, and that's not good either. So no no's is a bad situation. So if you will actually measure your success by the most successful people get more no's than anybody. Now, over time, of the percentage of people they talk to who say yes, the reason it's maybe a little higher is because their passion and enthusiasm and confidence is greater. Their skill is not greater. So if you're passionate, that's why the PC is important. If you're passionate and confident in the team, that'll come through. But trust me, everybody who succeeds has vastly greater numbers of no's than yeses. So don't be afraid of them, embrace them. Good
Absolutely. Thing. And I think the last thing we want to, unless somebody else has any other questions, I'm not getting any on my Facebook or on my text right now, but the amount of time that you can spend with your business, especially for the people that, and we can go over this in a whole other training too, about when they say, I have no time, I don't have any time for this, to do another business. Regardless of the amount of time that they have, as long as they go all in time that they have, that's all that matters. Whether they have an hour, 2 hours a week, 2 hours a day, as long as they go all in, that's all you can ask for. And I think that's what that's one of the things that you hit on. I think that just makes a lot of sense. And once you can convey that properly, you'll get a lot more people to join your business, because it's not about how much time they have.
Yeah, and we covered that, I think, maybe a month ago or a month and a half ago. We talked about it's about calendaring, and here's the reality. One is an indication of the other, meaning if someone says, well, I have no time, that's not true. Everyone has time. Now, it may be limited. Someone truly may have, with their children and their current employment commitments and community commitments and religious organizations and church commitments and youth leagues and dance recitals, whatever, they may have very limited time. But if the desire is there, if they don't have a strong enough desire, then they don't have any time, and that's fine. I respect that. That's okay. That's where they are. That's their place in life at that moment, and that's where their head is, and that's okay. Again, I'll do a Power of No training that talks to you about how you appropriately revisit people on a consistent basis, just because you really do care about them and you stay in touch. It's about maintaining a relationship, and we'll talk about that in a future training. But if someone truly has the desire, they'll find time. They may only find 5 hours a week, 4 hours a week, an hour. I have 1 hour, 3 days a week, and 2 hours on Saturday. Okay, great. But it better be deadly serious, flat out, full-time 5 hours. And if you do that 5 hours, and understand, it may take you a year just to get to that initial stage or level that someone else who had 10 hours a week got to in a month. That's okay, because you're there finally. Where now I have 10 hours this week. They had it a year ago, I have it now. It's not a race, it's a marathon. The difference is, in a marathon, like the Boston Marathon, only the professionals who get there first, get there first, second, third, get the prizes and stand on the podium. Network marketing is a marathon that every single person who gets across the finish line, whether they do it in 2 hours or the person who comes in 18 hours later in the dark and dead of night, the people are cheering and screaming and because they're still trying, everybody gets the same prize. So don't suffer from the comparison game. It's irrelevant. It's just, what is your game? Everybody has time. Maybe just be a few hours, but everybody can squeak out 4, 5, 6 hours a week if the desire is great enough. They'll give up that television program. They'll stop doing that one activity because my desire is greater than that activity currently, and I'll set that activity aside for 6 months to free up those 2 hours, because in 6 months when I take back that activity, I'll be in a position of greater strength and control. So that's it. So you're right. It's everybody has time, but let them make their own decision. Marry the process, not the result. The result is theirs. To choose. Yours is to commit the process, so that they have the choice.
That's awesome. And Paul Sween, I don't know if you can, Curtis, can you read the questions right now?
Yeah. Do you have any favorite reading material on the stuff you covered? Let me do this. With regard to the profession of network marketing, I have one book that is my favorite book, and there's a billion that are good. So let me say this, Paul. I would make sure that you are completely connected with and embedded with Eric Worre and Network Marketing Pro. So I would get his book, Go Pro. It is it's a simple read. It is a functional, it's a tremendous book at the functional skill sets, the basic skill sets, and how to execute them. And that way, this team doesn't have to spend a lot of time on it. You can say, I've gone through GoPro, and I'm a GoPro follower of those types of things. And now this team can work with you on the things that only this team and MYNT can provide, and that's important. In terms of other things, there are so many, but you can go to Google and just put network marketing mindset books, and then you can go out and look at reviews. Let me share another book with you, though, that I recommend. Right? I had somebody say in an interview a couple weeks ago, they said, what's your favorite quote? If you're going to give one, and what's a favorite book that inspired you? And my favorite quote was, I host a lot of big events in the space, and I'm known to always make sure that during transitions I always give quotes. And some of them are eloquent and long and wordy and magnificent. Wow, what an amazing wordsmith that person was. One of my favorite quotes is from that amazing philosopher, Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth said one of the most powerful things that I'd ever read, and it's so on point: you just can't beat the person that never gives up. I don't need a better quote than that. There is nothing that more epitomizes success in anything. Network marketing, you just can't beat the person that never gives up. Because if you break it down by definition, they never give up. If they never give up and they have passion and confidence and stay in action, you just can't beat them. which then leads to my favorite book that it was one of the first books that caused me to think in a different way. Was when I was back in my late single-digit age, or maybe I was just 11, 10, 11, something like that. I read Jonathan Livingston Seagull by Richard Bach, B-A-C-H. I think that it was that book that I'd read, 45 years ago. That book that I read so long ago, combined with that quote, is all anybody really needs, and everything else is just wonderful additional information. So I get GoPro because it's a great functional book. If you've not read it, go read Jonathan Livingston Seagull. And as you're reading it, you'll go, why did he recommend this? Why would he second? It was just a book that at the age of 11 taught me that maybe the world is about thinking differently. And if you then just plaster that saying of Babe Ruth, you just can't beat the person who never gives up. I think all the other reading material is great. Go read everything you can. Be voracious. Read stuff that you don't like. Set it down when you realize you don't, and keep going. And so there are great book lists out there by leaders in the space, and they're so varied and wide. I don't know there's an exact list, but I think those would be some good starting points for you.
Awesome. Well, Curtis, I think we've covered everything that we're going to cover tonight. If you have anything else to add, I think you've covered quite a bit. But without any other questions,
we've been
I'd like to thank
for about an hour. It's been a good hour, so it's good. I think good.
I know.
Well, what it is, there's nothing you can do wrong. There are simply things you do that don't achieve the result you'd hoped. Great. If you quit, they're failures. If you don't, good. It was just the path to success. So you just can't beat the person. You just can't be the person who never gives up. So go into action and expect a whole lot of results that were not what you'd hoped for. And just go into action and just don't ever give up and keep it simple. PCA, I've got passion for products, confidence in my team. I'm going to go into action and stay in action. And what's going to happen is you're going to start achieving the results that you'd hoped for, and then you're going to start achieving them more often, and then you're going to start achieving them with panache and flair and expertise and fanfare. That's it. If you try to turn network marketing into a structured, engineered process too much, you'll miss it. Just follow the fundamental principles of human behavior. Don't learn first and then do. That's how you learn. And just go for it. You can enroll, help, teach to help, and teach to teach, and watch it happen. And it'll all happen at different speeds because we're all different folks.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Curtis.
Absolutely, man. It's great to see you as always. Always fun. So take care, my brother. Keep tearing it up, you guys, and then we'll see you in the couple weeks ahead, or next week or something, or Lisa will. So.
Okay. Good
fun. Great to be here with you, Jay. Thanks, man.
Sounds good. We'll be in touch. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. Take care.
Talk to you later.